Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Sounds of the Hardwood podcast. In today's episode, we'll be previewing today's play-in tournament games. The Hawks at the Cavaliers at 7:30, and the Pelicans at the Clippers at 10 o'clock. And also making our predictions for tomorrow's first round games of the playoffs, which are three games which are the Jazz at Mavericks at 1 p.m., Timberwolves at Grizzlies at 3:30, and the Raptors at 76ers at 6 o'clock. That's how y'all guys doing today. How y'all day been going?
Pretty good, man. It's Friday. Can't complain. Friday, some good weather.
That's a basketball.
And some
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah. Basketball basically every day from here on out for what? The first 3 weeks. And
Mhm.
then it starts being, more spaced out when you get to the conference finals and stuff.
I like this. It's playoff time, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for playoff basketball. My Lakers not there, but I can still be excited for playoff basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
I'm,
for
I'm gonna
real.
put that out there because the Clippers are playing in the playing games. So I know Clipper fans out here like the troll because they supposed to be running LA. So I know that's a little rivalry there. So I'm just gonna acknowledge that before Clipper fans beat me to the punch and try to troll. So, but they not looking too great right now either. But we'll get to them later. First and foremost, we're gonna start off with the first game tonight: the Cavaliers and the Atlanta Hawks. Jared Allen will be playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, so that is a good sign for them and trying to get themselves prepared to clinch that eighth seed today. And unfortunately, excuse me, the Atlanta Hawks still will be out John Collins, but they're coming off a big win against the Charlotte Hornets, excuse me, against the Charlotte Hornets. That wasn't really a game at any point in time. They just dismantled them. I was disappointed in that. I thought that Charlotte was going to make that a good game, but apparently they forgot they had a game that day. And Atlanta's here against the Cavaliers. So, what do y'all think are the keys for either team, the Atlanta Hawks or the Cavaliers, and who is going to win tonight's game?
Um, I think the keys to tonight game is the guards. Garland versus Trey Young. Even your star player from your Lakers, LeBron, was like, I can't wait for
Mm-hmm.
tonight's game to watch these young great point guards go at it. Um, I think it's gonna be an up and down game, which that favors both teams, honestly. Um, Cleveland being at home until the news just broke, I thought just with them being inexperienced, even though they have K Love and Rondo, um, they might have did some things down the road that would have, ended up costing them the game. And Trey Young would have went out there and pulled something out. But with Allen playing today, I think that the Cavs are gonna pull it out because that's big. Because now they got technically three bigs to go with compared to just Capella on the other end with freaking Atlanta. So it's like you can't really. Capella's okay, but Trey Young and Collins have that great guard and big man connection. So it's gonna be the battle of the guards, and I guess you could really say what the role players do at this point for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Cleveland pulling it out, but it should be a fun game tonight. Great start to the playoffs.
Okay, just one quick question. Those role players. In the last game for the Atlanta Hawks, they got a lot of help from their role players: Herter,
Yep.
Hunter, Gallinari. Trey Young played okay, but mostly the role players came in and had big games. Bogdanovich came well and played well off the bench. So, does Atlanta need that type of performance again from their role players in order to win this game? Or
Yeah. I have faith in Bogdanovich. I think he's gonna do what he does. I think it's more Herter, Hunter,
mm,
those players. Like the players that are sporadic, the players that are inconsistent. Those are one of those two got to step up. And it doesn't even have to really be on offense. Just step up and make an impact on the game somehow.
mm,
Um, those two guys are the main guys that come to mind when I say role players because besides Trey Young, the second most consistent player was Bogdanovich. So I feel like you kind of got to count him in as automatic for what, maybe 18 to 20 points tonight.
mm,
And then it's like, what do you, Trey Young gonna probably give you 20? And then it's like, where's the rest gonna come from? Because
mm,
the Cavs playing at home, they're gonna get something from somebody because role players play better at home. Everybody knows that no matter the sport. So
mm.
I think it's definitely more for Atlanta's role players to step up. They've been missing all year. That's why they're in this position.
Basically. Okay, I get you though. Good point. All right, what you got, Soda?
I think when it comes to Atlanta, I feel like the biggest X factor or the guy who needs to continue stepping up is DeAndre Hunter, and
Yeah.
he was the reason why last game during the stretch in the third quarter he had 16 points, which
Mm.
obviously led to the blowout. But he stepped up and he was the one who attacked the paint and making plays. He was playing really aggressive,
Mm.
and that's what you want somebody else to do when Trae Young was ice cold for like the first half of the game. I mean, granted he finished with 24 points, but it was Hunter who stepped up. So you need another strong game like that. For the Cleveland Cavaliers side, just like Ant mentioned, the last episode I had said if Allen plays, I feel like he's the biggest difference maker when it comes to this matchup. If he doesn't play, then I give the edge to Atlanta. But since Allen is playing, he is the defensive anchor for that Cleveland Cavaliers team. And when he plays, Cleveland is one of the best defensive teams in the league. So having him, play, I think it's huge because you can limit that pick and roll that Trae Young and Capella have.
Mm.
And then again, it's another big body. It's another because they have tall guys, with Mobley, Love. So that kind of gives Cleveland the advantage over Atlanta, who they don't have John Collins, and it's like they're depending too much on Capella. And Capella last game had a great game over the Charlotte Hornets, but it was because Charlotte Hornets were playing small ball. This isn't small ball. This is against lengthy players. So I feel like Capella's gonna, he might put up some stats, but it's gonna be a battle. It might be a struggle for him because of Allen. So yeah, Allen.
Okay. So you're talking about and talked a little more about offensive impact of help trying to give Trae Young some help, which he badly needs. The offense struggles when he's not going. And yes, that last game against the Hornets was like that rare occasion where somebody else other than him helped lead the way offensively because they're not great defensively. Hunter is one of their few, and Capella one of their few exceptions. So Cleveland is a little bit more built on defense because they have that anchor in Allen. So from that standpoint, who is the player that you think has to take on that assignment of trying to slow down? But it's the question for both of y'all of trying to slow down Trae Young so he does not have that type of impact on the game to help lead Atlanta to a win.
Rondo.
Okay.
That's what he's there for. And I don't feel like
Rondo.
he lost I don't feel like he lost a step defensively. If anything, he's still the same person he was. That's what got him in the league. And then now he had a little bit more offense. I think he hit 2 threes, maybe 1 3 the other day. We see him hitting threes more and more in games, not just in 2K no more. But but yeah, it's Rondo. You throw Rondo right there on him and just full court him. Rondo's a bigger body, and it's easier to put that pressure on a guard when you got your defensive anchor in the back. So if Trae Young somehow does get by Rondo or Garland, it's like, oh shoot, I got Allen over here, I got Mobley over here. Like they're gonna frustrate the hell out of him unless he's doing snatch backs from half court, pulling up like it's the All-Star game, and those are going in. It's one of those nights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough.
I actually like that Rondo. I mean, he's not going to be my pick, but I like Rondo for the simple fact that with his experience, he could be somebody who could frustrate Trae Young. So we could definitely see that happening. But I'm going a different route, and it's an unusual route. I'm going with Mobley, and the reason why I'm going with Mobley, and it's not to defend Trae Young, it's that Trae Young, again, he relies a lot on the pick and roll, right? So Mobley doesn't have the task of guarding John Collins. So that gives him the liberty of guarding other players. So when Trae Young does the pick and roll, it's like, okay, it's one-on-one with Garland. And then obviously Allen has to decide whether, pick your poison, either step up or not. But I feel like you can limit Trae Young by taking out his other scorers. And that's where Mobley comes in. So it's a weird, unusual pick, but I'm going that route.
Got you. I think this first game is going to be interesting because it's a clash of styles. Uh, Cleveland relies more on their bigs offensively. Obviously, Garland is a big part of their offense with his ability to create shots, but they play more inside out. Garland likes to get to the basket, mid-range jump shots, and then he's got the skilled players with uh, Marketing and Mobley, and then the dump offs to Garland. Jared Allen. So they play more of an inside-out type of game because of their size, and they can also shoot from the outside. However, Atlanta is more of a perimeter-based team, and then Cleveland is good on the defensive end. Rather, Atlanta is more offensive-minded. So it is a weird combination of trying to figure out who can score and who cannot score in that series. Oh, excuse me, not series. Game. I said series. It's like a forced habit of saying series because of that. Because it's a playing tournament, so I say series instinctively. Then the Cavaliers side, I wonder, can they score enough points? They are good defensively, but I worry about can they score enough points if it becomes a shootout between Atlanta. But those play styles are going to be interesting to see the difference between a guard-oriented offense versus an offense being ran through their big men, and then a more defensive-minded team versus the offensive-minded team. So that's where my mental focus is. But I think it's going to be a good game,
Right.
potentially a good game.
I just see it as you just mentioned offense versus defense. In the offensive side of Atlanta, if Trae Young is nowhere to be found, I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only Hunter, but you need other players to step up. And then on the Cavs side, you have a lot of players who can actually step up. You have LeVert, you have Garland, you have believe it or not, Kevin Love from the bench, Mobley.
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple of options. But I feel like the biggest difference, I think, in this series is that health is key, and that falls on the Cavs side right now. I feel like Bogdanovich not being 100%, no Collins, those are two players that can boost your team, and something that obviously the Hawks don't have. So it's a reason why you see, in my opinion, I feel like that gives the Cavs a little bit of the edge.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I agree. You brought up a good point. You brought up a good name. LeVert, he needs to show up, put a stamp on a game at some point, right? Everybody expected him, right, to put a stamp on the Brooklyn game. Put his mark, even if they lost, have some type of numbers versus your old team, right? Nothing, pretty mediocre. And then tonight, it's all right, you're lucky you have a second chance because that's a game 7, then you're gone, and you got to dwell on that all summer. Damn, I play like crap. They really needed me. So that's a great name that you mentioned, Soto. I think that's somebody that honestly slipped my mind because he played so bad the other night. That could be a game changer for Cleveland. And also the Mobley thing's a big factor. I don't think he gets enough credit for the way he's able to step out there and defend guards in the perimeter, because he's up there with the Robert Williams and a few other, not too much, but a few other forward/bigs that can actually defend guards on the perimeter. So him being hidden on whoever he's going to guard tonight on Atlanta is going to be good, because Capella has to bang around with with Jared Allen, so he has to freaking deal with that. And then Mobley's just get whatever he wants. Mind you, Mobley can shoot that shot. He has great touch around the rim. He has great instincts. So that's also a good player that you mentioned, a good idea. You thought of, good scheme that Cleveland's going to probably go with, honestly.
Yeah, no, I just think is you compare both teams, and Cleveland right now has the home court advantage, has the health advantage, and has the defensive
advantage. Yeah, so, 100% agree.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Mobley, and you were talking about what he can do defensively, because he can help out at times, and he doesn't really have a person that he has to directly guard all night long. So the reverse of that, because he's such a threat offensively, who does Atlanta try to use to slow him down?
I'm definitely not saying Gallinari.
I mean, that's the only person you can say. And don't get me wrong, he can be crafty. He can be crafty when he gets the ball in his spots, and he has a hell of a head fake and all that little things to try to get it, because we got to remember Mobley's still young, so sometimes that goes out the window, and they just tend to do little mistakes that won't happen later down the road, but they're gonna happen first, second year in the league is gonna happen, right? So that's all I could think about is maybe him getting the ball in his spot and trying to use his craftiness. Right, draw early first foul, sit him down, neutralize the game now, something like that. But will it really work? I don't know. That's all I can think about.
You saying Atlanta's best defensive plan is to hope somebody gets him in foul trouble?
You have to. You got to get one of them. Either that or hoping that Jared Allen's on a minute restriction. That's the only way. So that way you could balance it out. Because if they go, I don't believe he's on for a finger. I don't know why he wasn't doing conditioning. So. Yeah, I don't think he's on one either. That's why I'm just like
I just see it as like Gallinari would have to.
Great question. I just don't know. That's the only person that came to mind.
Gallinari would have to get to the spot first, like seconds, and then just pull up, because that's all Gallinari could do is just pull up.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's where
maybe a silly foul in transition. Maybe he's the only one back, gets caught sleeping. You know what I mean? I don't know, man.
That's why it's hard, because it's like with these injuries that Atlanta's facing. Like, all right, if they had Collins, I would say, all right, it's kind of like evenly matched, almost.
Yeah,
but they don't have Collins, right? And then, all right, so you're gonna put Horder at the 2. I don't know if you want to gamble and take and put Hunter at the 4. But then you put at the 3 like somebody like Bogdanovich. But then again, Bogdanovich is somebody who's going through an ankle injury, and you want to play small ball against this team. So I don't know.
I don't.
Not only that, I forgot to mention Lou Will. Even though he's like dinosaur age, he can still put up
this is one of those games where he could put up some decent numbers. You're right.
Yeah, but playoffs is
just like for all you Atlanta fans that watch the game. This is also one of those games where Trae Young does thrive off of. Think about in the games in New York. The crowd, they might not be as heavy as the New York crowd is to him. Might not be no fuck Trae Young trance, but you know what I mean. Just having all those thousands of fans go against you. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
He loves those moments. I'll give him that. He loves those moments. So
exactly.
If somehow he was to do the complete opposite of what he did in Atlanta, I wouldn't be surprised either. But
I'm glad you just mentioned that, because, Trae Young, when it came to New York, the fans, that was his fuel. He's not going to get that in Cleveland.
No.
So it's like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like,
and Cleveland, like I said, Cleveland at home being the better defending team, I might dare to say even better offensive team. If they lose tonight, I'll be in complete shock. But that's what, and spoiler alert, that's why I have Cleveland winning tonight.
Yeah, I think it sounded like we all did, right? Came you with us too with Cleveland? Okay,
Cleveland. I just simply don't think Atlanta plays enough defense to beat them in the 7 games.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, it would take a little bit of a miracle for them to do that. Like, and I'm not saying that I'm being disrespectful to Atlanta fans there. Actually, I can't, because they just played a game the other night. There was barely anybody there. So what am I talking about? They don't even care about their own damn team. But to the sense of playing against Cleveland, I think that Atlanta is just too small right now. You'd have to slide Hunter at the 4 just to have somebody at the 4 spot to have to guard Mobley and Kevin Love when he's in the game. Otherwise, you're asking, I don't know who's their backup for? Is it Gallinari? That's who plays full time backup for?
It's either Gallinari or
Gallinari or
sometimes they have Okongwu, but Okongwu really backs up Capella.
Okay. So
I mean that's the thing. Like you. Really,
I forgot about Okongwu.
No, they really don't have a backup 4. Like after Gallinari, I really don't know who you know, who they put unless they put
That's
again,
what I mean.
like DeAndre Hunter there for some minutes, but that's you know.
I'm just
Yeah.
throwing out names here because I mean, for conversation, that's a big part because you mentioned about what he does on defense, but he's also their. I think he's their second leading scorer, Mobley. So
Yeah.
that's a part of the game plan. Defensively, how is Atlanta going to stop him? So that's why I made me think of it. And then y'all's answer is pretty much is probably what the same thing Nate McMillan's over there thinking right now. Like, one of y'all going to do it. I see it being Hunter. He's the most capable person to do it. I mean, and then if Garland goes off, then maybe that's slide Garland on there. But there's a lot of things I got to figure out. But I'm not. We ain't the coaches. We just speculating here.
And then one more thing before we move on to the next one, right? Now that I'm thinking about it, normally you get away with hiding your best player, right? If they're undersized, like the Steph Currys, the Trae Youngs, you know, so forth, so forth. You can't really hide Trae Young with Cleveland starting 5. If they go with the 5 they went with the other night, right? Where can he go? It's like everybody he's going to be guarding can literally put him in the post. So it's like that's also interesting. Like, what if Trae Young gets in foul trouble because he's trying, you know, to recover, fight through screens, whatever. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how these coaching schemes playing out tonight.
Gotcha. Now, I guess the second game has excitement to it because it's the Clippers, and everybody likes the Clippers. But unfortunately, they don't have Paul George, who is currently in COVID protocol.
What?
Yes, he's in COVID protocol. I hope he is.
Are they still doing that?
Not playoff P.
Yeah, playoff P. It's pandemic P now. No, vaccinated P. My fault. Vaccinated P. My fault. But he's unfortunately in COVID protocol. So that means this team is about to be led by Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, Luke
Norman
Kennard,
Powell.
Powell, yes. And they got someone in Robert Covington. So that's going to be the Zubac. Yes, my fault.
Hey, he be going under the radar. I ain't gonna lie, that boy be balling. He had a hell of a year.
My bad.
He's not going. He's having a hell of a year.
I forgot about that legend Zubac over there. And they're coming against a very hot team right now, New Orleans Pelicans, coming off a playing win. Yes, you have the whole Zion conversation with him out there doing 360s and all that good stuff like that. But CJ McCollum has been playing very well. He's having a run at the moment to try to say that he was more than just a sidekick to Damian Lillard, that he is capable of being a star player. So to continue that narrative, today I think is a extremely important game for CJ McCollum. I know I let y'all go first, so I just switched up a little bit and figured I'll go first. Is that he has to have that signature game right now. Like when they get to the playoffs, everybody as an 8th seed, that we know they're a scrimmage for the Phoenix Suns. We know that the Western Conference 8th seed game is going to be a scrimmage for the Phoenix Suns. We understand that for a long time, that this is just going to be they out there putting up some reps. So his moment would be right now is, can I get this team into that 8th seed spot, and then whatever happens is whatever happens. And I also think it's a big moment for Brandon Ingram because he's been up and down this year, and he still hasn't had that signature moment to say like Zion and now CJ, we're the new big 3 of New Orleans, that we're going to be together for a while and be a force together on this New Orleans Pelican team. And I think for the Clippers, this is going to have to be an amazing coaching job by Tyronn Lue, which he's been doing for most of the year, to keep this team afloat, missing Kawhi Leonard all year and then missing Paul George for an extended period of time. So that's who I think for both parties is going to play a part in it. It's weird saying a coach, but I think he's got to get creative with lineups and schemes to try to slow down this Pelican team that's playing well right now. And then the Pelicans, they need big games from their 2 new leaders at the moment without Zion playing and CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram. So what are y'all thoughts on, same question as before, who's got to step up for which respective team and what are going to be the keys for those respective teams?
Go ahead, Soda, you got it. I seen the face, so I was like, go ahead.
Nah, I feel like here's the thing. I feel with the Pelican side, it falls under CJ. It's how far CJ can take them. they traded for CJ, to please Zion, but no Zion. So I feel like CJ is the one who has to play with the chip. If he plays the same way he did against the San Antonio Spurs, then great, by all means. But CJ right now, he hasn't done anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, in terms of playoff history. And I feel like this is, again, one of those moments where it presents itself and it's like, all right, you got to give it everything you got, And when it comes to the Clippers, I don't know. I really don't know, because here's the thing. The one thing that the Clippers have on their favor is they have so many 3-and-D guys, which is a great thing. No Paul George. We've seen what they can do without Paul George throughout the season. It's not like without Paul George, without Kawhi, it kind of like didn't matter because they still had some sort of identity, because here they are in the play-ins. So, but if I had to choose one player that has to dominate on the Clipper side, I'm gonna go with Norman Powell.
Okay.
It's you know what, Paul George is out, then the next guy steps up, which I believe is Norman Powell. And he's been going through injuries and whatnot, but he's back now, and he has to be the one who takes them over the top. In regards to like matchups, I'm really like interested in seeing that Valanciunas and Zubac matchup, believe it or not, because we saw, in a way, Valanciunas, I guess you could say, put Karl Anthony Towns in check. And without Zubac, and with Zubac has had his best season because there hasn't been Paul George, there hasn't been Kawhi, so he has stepped up. So I kind of want to see, the bigs kind of clash and see what the outcome is.
Okay. What you got? And I saw that face when
I only had that face with the CJ statement, because he been balling since he ended up in New Orleans, and
right.
They were talking about when they were playing the Spurs, like he's accepted that role as a leader, like, and learning, who to talk to a certain way, how to get certain guys to do this and that. Some people, like the aggressive approach when you are talking to them like a certain way, and then some people like the more laid back approach, like, hey, you just suggest it rather than demand it. And he even built a relationship with Zion and stuff. That's good. And I actually think this is one of those scenarios where when he left Portland, now people are starting to realize, oh, wait a minute, like, this is the same guy that was at Portland. Like, he could ball. Like, not that he didn't get noticed then, but we know that was Dame's team, Dame this, Dame that, Dame Dollar, right? Dame time. So, and every playoff series he's been in before, it was always Dame this, Dame that. But nobody was ever looking at CJ's numbers. He's always been consistent. Even the other night, 50%. He gets to his spots. He's never rushed. Similar to Luka, like, never rushed. He knows his games. He knows his spots. You're not knocking him off his path to get to his spots, point blank. And I feel like that's going to be key for them tonight. And I don't see him playing bad. He never plays bad for the rest of the Clippers. I don't see him playing bad tonight, especially since they're losing one of their best defenders with Paul George. So when I first heard the news, like, what was that, like around noon when it broke, I was like, damn, they lost, right? Just thinking about, damn, all right, that sucks. Like, both LA teams going home early, so the fan base could argue about that. That's pointless, right? And then looking at the roster just now when we brought up the teams, I was like, oh, yeah, they got Norman Powell, they got Covington, they got a few people that combined can try to do what Paul George been doing for them, right? So I agree with Soto. If Paul George is hurt or whatever, so he's out because COVID, right? You look next man up, and then you be like, you know what? You can give me some of what he does on both ends, just like he would do if he was here, and we just need it from you one time. And then you can go back to your normal role. They're playing at home, so they're gonna feed off that. I get that. Still tough to pick them just because it's like, is Reggie Jackson gonna be the good Reggie Jackson, or is he gonna be, like the sporadic Reggie Jackson? You don't know. It's like there's so many questions with that team when Kawhi or Paul George or both are not there, because it's like those are the glue guys that are gonna have people in the right spots. But I think I know I respect Ty Lue as a coach to go with his team tonight. But if the Pelicans were somehow to pull it out, I would say it would be not only a big game from CJ. I expect him to do similar to what he did the other night. I think like y'all also mentioned Ingram. Like, bro, this is your team still. Now you got a sidekick with CJ, a good guard. Y'all games don't go against each other. They actually dwell together, right? You gotta. It's a former gym, It's the same gym you used to play in before when you got drafted. So it's not like it's you. Once you know what gym, you know what gym. Everybody knows that. So them hoops, So it's like if Ingram can do what he did the other night, we're gonna have a great 10 o'clock game on our hands, which usually the West Coast games are, because the West Coast is usually neck and neck, right? I mean, the other night he put up 27, very efficient too, just like CJ did. And I feel like the game plan should be similar. Get him going early, get his confidence up, because he's still like one of the young guys where it's like, if I see the ball going early, you can't tell me nothing. I'm engaged, offense, defense, everything, right? I don't get the ball early. I don't get the ball in rhythm. I have a few misses, a few this. Non-calls don't go my way. It's like, oh, now he's checked out. He checks out. You got CJ out there by himself. Valanciunas is going to do what he does. That's a great matchup to watch out for, like you said, Soto. That's like a traditional big man fight right there, like straight just battling. And I also like the rookie from New Orleans too, Herbert Jones. That boy.
I completely forgot to mention him.
Yeah,
and I was gonna wait till Keem went to bring up Herb Jones and also Alvarado.
Yep.
Because those two, the combination of those two, completely shut down. Like the Spurs,
he started versus Spurs. Yeah, I know their defense was crazy.
Right.
So if they come in there with that
defensive
intensity,
the way they did, I think like the Pelicans have a good shot, and which is why I'm going with a surprise here. I'm going with the Pelicans to win it.
I was leading that way for a little bit. Like if you would have asked me about 3 hours ago, I would have said off it without thinking. But then I'm looking at the roster and I'm just like, I can't fully put my trust on my pockets in Ingram. But but you bring up a good point. If they're as engaged in defense as they will when they play at home, which is hard to do when you're on the road, right? Then you got to come down to who the hell is going to be the shot creator for the Clippers. That's when you're like, oh, now it gets interesting. They don't have one. Without a Kawhi, without a Paul George out, who's their shot creator?
Reggie Jackson.
We've seen in like
if he's doing good. If he's doing good.
Is Reggie Jackson and Norman Powell? That's their best two options.
If he's doing good. Yeah, but I don't think Powell's a shot creator. I don't know. In my eyes, I don't think he is.
I'm just throwing out people.
Oh, you just throwing out people. Okay, cool.
I'm trying to find somebody on their team.
Yeah.
Luke Kennard goes off. I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm giving the edge to. Hey, he has gone off here and there, so they don't sleep. It's usually at the home games, right? Typical role player stuff. That's why I'm going to take it with the home teams for both games tonight, because I'm like, somebody from the bench on both teams is just going to step up. Even if it don't got to even be double digits, it could be a 9 points. But if it's 9 points at that right moment, it's going to feel like it was 20 because, but yeah, so that's how I'm going with the Clippers. But hopefully both games are like good tonight. There's no whoopings, because that'll be boring to watch. It will be a great start to the weekend, because tomorrow the real games start. So
the real game.
The real games, like the
people that made the playoffs.
Yeah. The ones that were already there. Yeah. They had their week off, now they're ready to ball.
That's a nice little segue then.
I tried. I tried.
So now we covered today's games. We gave our predictions and our preview of it. So now we talk about tomorrow's game. I said there's 3 games. The first game of the day is the Jazz and the Mavericks at 1 p.m. Fortunately, the Mavs right now, we're playing without Luka Doncic. So we'll save, more of a detail of those games and that series. I can play in that series for another episode. But just right off the back, with that information of the Jazz and the Mavs and tomorrow's game at 1 o'clock, who do you have winning?
Is it 100% no Luka? Like 100% no Luka?
100% no Luka.
All right, it's the Jazz then, and that sucks because Luka literally.
Does
It
everything for the
almost
team.
reminds me of like, the Harden and Houston situation, which is why I get mad that people are on Harden's back right now. Like nobody's bringing up maybe this is just a burnout situation with Harden because all them damn years in Houston, right, where he had to play the most minutes in the freaking season to get the most points and the most free throw attempts, right?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Luka's going down that same road with Dallas. It's like they're always hurt, or the role players or his number two options always hurt, right? Whoever that number two option is, right? At some point, there's always hurt. So he has to step up and do what he does, which he has no problem doing it. That's your guy. But then the wear and tear comes at the wrong time. This will be the third season straight. At some point in the playoffs, Luke is battling an injury, whether it was the shoulder or whatever was the next situation. Now it's the calf strain, which is tricky because that's what they told KD he had when he was at the Warriors, and then he came back too early. Then boom, it turned to the Achilles, right? So I feel like they're monitoring that too. I mean, can you lose one game and still be in the series? Hell yeah, of course, right?
Yeah.
But it all depends on really how Luka really feels for game 2, and they're not like the Brooklyn-Boston series where they get all them spaces, all that time off between, right?
Yeah.
The league knows what they're doing. So I expect Mitchell to go down there and dominate because knowing him and the competitor he is, he's definitely mad about how the end of the season went for them, the second half of the season. So he's just like, you know what? We've been here before. Let's just do what we got to do.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah.
See, when I heard Luka, he's out, I automatically thought, all right, you know what, Jazz, next question. But I'm probably gonna still roll with the Jazz, but it's gonna be closer than you think because without Luka, yes, he is the team. He does everything for the team. They still got some pieces, They got Dinwiddie, they got Brunson, and there's the Jazz have been in a stretch where they've not played very good basketball, and if they get to a slow start, then it wouldn't be surprising if the Mavericks, picked up on that and steals game 1. But I'm going with the Jazz, just simple fact that Donovan Mitchell, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder, and I'm telling you right now, if there's an early exit from the Jazz, I think either Mitchell's gone or Gobert is gone. One of those two are gone if there's an early exit. So I feel like the Jazz, this is a golden opportunity to be ahead in the series. No Luka, so Jazz game 1.
Okay, I'm gonna be quick and then we can slide on to the second game of the day. But if there's any team in the NBA that could find a way to lose this series, it'd be the Utah Jazz. So, I'm going to go. Like their recent pattern has been, they got this.
Go up 3-1 and then fold, or just go up and hit it, or go far and then just stop.
It's been a trend for the last, I think, like 3 or 4 years. Right?
3-4 years, yep.
Yeah. So
unfortunately,
I'm looking at it like fans. No Luka Doncic. It looked too good for the Utah Jazz to win this series. So, and Spencer Dinwiddie has been a great pickup, and he's played
for
very
sure.
well. So if there's one person that I think he's not Luka, but could he come in and kind of buy some time for Luka to return to the series? I'd say it would be Spencer Dinwiddie, who's gonna have a chip on his shoulder because of the Brooklyn not offering him a contract, then getting traded from Washington. He gonna have a national stage to show like, yo, y'all really must have forgot what I was doing in the playoffs in Brooklyn before I got traded from Washington. So I think he's gonna have that chip, and I think Jason Kidd has done a heck of a job with figuring out ways to win games with this team, and I think he'll continue to try to find a way to beat a dysfunctional Utah Jazz team right now. Second game of the day is the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies. I'll go first this time. I think they're gonna lose that series because when you start crying because you won a playing game, then at that point, I ain't disrespecting my guy, but y'all niggas out here, y'all popping bottles for a playing game. I didn't know we was doing that now. I didn't know this was
first time in the playoffs for how many years?
Like we out here popping shit. I know, but while we play, it's a playing game. They acting like that was the championship game. So I think they just gonna be happy to be there. The fans are gonna be happy to have a playoff basketball back in Minnesota.
Woo!
And They're going to get their ass whipped. This probably going to be a sweep. If you got something to do tomorrow at 3:30, this is your time to go do it because that ain't going to be a game. You go.
If you got to
watch
go to
the first game,
Target or wherever you
whatever you
have
need
to
to
go.
do, come back at 6 o'clock for the third game because this game's not going to be much entertainment for you.
I'll make mine really quick because I think Keem summed it up perfectly. I'm going with the Grizzlies. There's no surprise there. I'm interested to see how Karl Anthony Towns bounces back. You know, being in the league for a couple of years now and hasn't had a true playoff moment, and here is one that presents itself. So Pat Beverly, is probably going to get dunked on by Morant at some point of the game.
Ooh, spicy.
I'm making a prediction. He also picks up a technical foul tomorrow.
Every game.
Yeah.
What's the bet for that one?
Ja gonna probably get one every other two.
Yeah. It's just, again, I'm big on defense, and that's what the Grizzlies are. They are a great defensive team. Not that the Timberwolves aren't, because they are, they are pretty good. Down the stretch, it showed, but down the stretch, we saw John Morant get injured, and I think the best thing that they did was not rush him back. And I feel like he's now fully healthy, rested, and ready to go, which is very dangerous for this Timberwolves team. So, Grizzlies.
Yeah, especially with a knee. Like he had that game to play, and then you see how it reacts off that game, and then he had basically like a week off too. So that's good for him, probably straight, treatment and stuff. But I think y'all are forgetting about a key person that's on that Timberwolves team. Y'all talking about Cat. And I expect Cat to have a bounce back game. So finally he understands, like, some of it wasn't all his fault. Like, 2 of those fouls he got was straight him, just a moment. I don't want to say it was too big, but wanted it too bad. Everybody has those plays I wanted to, like a Russell Westbrook. You want it too bad, you do stupid stuff, right?
Don't.
Yeah, not only that, he was frustrated. Valanciunas did a great job on him.
They did, but that last words that you said, them 2 words in the same sentence, we don't do that no more in this podcast. So, we don't put them Russell in that.
But anyways,
no more.
I don't think Ja has played versus somebody like Pat Beverly for, I will say, at least 4 to 5 games straight, right? He gets under your skin at some point. He breaks everybody, right? At some point, right? And like Josh said, we don't want from smoke run up the chimney. They want the smoke, right? They embrace it. So I think it's gonna be them 2 going at it, and I love it. So I'm not gonna skip this game. I'm gonna actually sit there with the snacks and the drinks to catch all the pettiness from this game, right? Game 1, I expect to be a blowout. Memphis defend home court, whatever. But nobody's thinking about D'Angelo Russell. He's the reason why they beat the Clippers. Like, that boy stepped up with Cat being in foul trouble, right? And he's kind of been in these moments before.
The Brooklyn.
Yeah, so he knows, and he still got the ice in his veins, as you've seen. So I don't think they get swept. I think they still won. It could possibly be too if Ant-Man balls out, which I think he's going to ball out too, because that's another name that nobody thinks about.
I just think my fault. I just think just like Minnesota has Beverly to he's that one guy that gets
Memphis got Brooks.
So
but they're both, like, you're right. They're literally in the same boat, and they're both wild, bro. Like, Brooks could be in foul trouble, just like Pat Beverly in the first 30 seconds, and you'd be looking at him like, bro. But that's a good thing. Bane somehow became a 3-and-D guy, literally, like the best 3-and-D guy you can think of right now. Like, that boy shot lights out all. I was waiting for a wall for him to hit. He didn't hit no wall. He shot lights out all season. But yeah, that's gonna be. I think that's gonna probably be one of the best games of the night. It could be the best game of the night. But I got Memphis just like y'all do. I got Memphis in 5 though, not in 4.
Oh, you just giving them?
I'm giving them 1.
Sweep?
Yeah, gentleman's sweep.
Okay. And then the last game, we got a bit of reliable.
The third game. Yeah, there's 4 games tomorrow. Yeah, third game.
My fault.
No, you're good.
Third game is, I'm not counting that. Memphis. So in my head, I fucked it up because I ain't that scrimmage at 3. I ain't really. Yeah, it's about the 6 o'clock game. The Raptors and the 76ers. The Raptors were like at the bottom of the East, and here they are at the 5th seed and could potentially play spoiler to the Philadelphia 76ers. So, who do y'all have winning tomorrow? And then, if you had to give you a series prediction, who gonna win that series versus the Raptors and the 76ers?
I mean, it almost seems like this story's written, right? It's like the coach that folds, the coach that don't make adjustments. Harden's Harden, right? Falling off. Can Embiid get them through at least one round of playoffs? Is he that dominant? Yes. But at the same time, it's like every player has that team that always has that number, and it's Toronto. They got the season series, I think, 3-1, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you got to put it on coaching, right? Nick Nurse, right? That freaking whatever system he has for these players, like they brought in and they always buy in. I'm interested. I'm really hyped to watch Scotty Barnes go against freaking what's the point guard's name? Maxey? Yeah, I want to see that matchup. I think those two definitely go at each other, but I got just Embiid having the dominant year he has, and like his body's right, his mind's right, all that. Possibly could be the MVP by this time. I got them winning, but it's going to be a long series, and I don't think they want it to be, but just because Toronto always has their number, and until Doc gets coaching down pack, like not coaching, but coaching on the fly down pack, it's going to be game by game, which means it could be a long series.
Doc ain't helped the Celtics win a championship the way you just slandered that man.
No. He was good with them, but it was also a lot of vets, and they also coach themselves on the court. So here it's like you got a lot of young guys and all that. He hasn't really bounced back from when he left the Clippers. Even with the Clippers, like it was the same thing. So it's like shout out to Doc, man. I appreciate you bringing that shit to Boston, but he's not the same coach he was back then, bro. Think about it. Times change. Times change.
Oh, we know that.
But I got to go in 6, and I got Philly in 6.
Okay. You don't like that answer, Toto?
It's best of 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see this going 7 games. I can absolutely see that.
I was trying to be nice. Pete's not here. I was trying to be nice to Pete and say.
See, again, coaching, you got to give the edge to Toronto. Obviously, Nick Nurse and what he's done for that team has been incredible. He's probably like top 3 coach in the NBA, to be honest with you. Top 3, top 5. I'm leaning more towards top 3. And to be honest, I like Toronto's roster more, but Joel Embiid is a bad man. Joel Embiid, when you have an MVP caliber who really wants it, like I think we've seen that this year. I think the maturity of what's called Embiid. He wants it, and Harden saying, "Oh, there's not pressure. I already accomplished everything." No, sir, you are the person with the most pressure because
in the playoffs.
Because you always tend to choke in the playoffs. You have been in the league for God knows how many years, a superstar, and don't have a chip. I feel like the X factor though in Philly though is, and I think you could just take your pick, is either Maxey or Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris definitely needs to step up. He's been ice cold for I don't know how long. Maxey has done a great job, even with the addition of Harden. Like I feel like with the addition of Harden, Maxey I think took a step forward, but Tobias Harris took a step back. So you kind of need that, to balance that out better. Which is, I'm going with Philly. I feel like the home games, you really need to take advantage of that, because if Toronto wins game 1, then I feel like they have all the advantage because your best defender can't play in Toronto, which is Dylan. So, again, I'm giving Philly the edge, but it's a slight edge.
Yeah, before you go, King, real quick, That's a good point, and I feel like that's why I had to take Philly because it's like I don't see them losing game one. I expect them probably winning game one. At some point, they're gonna break away, right? 15, 20, whatever, right? Um, then they always have this thing. They win game one, they come back game two. Like days ago, going through the motions, we got it. Then that's when it gets interesting. And the whole Thibault not being able to play in Toronto gets interesting too. That's why I got to go on probably 6. But Embiid's just too much of a monster, and it's just like it's gonna be like, yeah, they have nobody for. I just went through the roster when you were talking. I'm like, they really got. They have nobody.
And he's 6'8".
Yeah, and Embiid is very crafty, and again, it all depends on how the whistle goes. What you hope is not a tight whistle, and like you let them play a little bit, right? Let the the bumping and the physicalness go for a little bit, but you never really know, right? So with Embiid, it's like he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder either way. It's either he wins the MVP and you can't tell him nothing because when that comes out, whoever wins that, they start balling even more, right? Or he loses it and then he gets a chip on his shoulder and he's like, "Damn, I'm doing this and y'all still can't give me MVP." So it's like I just feel like Toronto's in a bad spot because that news is gonna come out sometime during the series, and then it's like, damn, like it's just like, and they literally just don't have nobody for Embiid.
Yeah, no, my fault came before you go. Just adding to what you said, like, all right, so you have Siakam on Embiid. I feel like Embiid tomorrow is going to have more of a post game because it's like, all right, there's nobody with who matches my size, my height. And I feel like that's beneficial to Embiid because it's like, all right, in the paint, that's where he draws his fouls. So that is where the foul trouble could hurt Siakam. And then you just mentioned regarding the MVP and the critics and whatnot. It's a tight race between him and Joker. So it's like he's gonna put everybody on notice why I should be MVP and not Joker. So I still expect a big game from Embiid, so which is why I give Philly, the edge in the series, and they'll probably most likely take game one.
Makes sense. Y'all both made good points. I think the only thing that Toronto probably will try to do to slow down Embiid is zones. He does that a lot anyway. He does a lot of zone scheme, a lot of double teaming him to try to make him get rid of the ball and then make somebody else make a play. So I think Embiid is going to be Embiid because he's been Embiid every game that they've played. Every game that Toronto has played 76ers, Embiid has had 25-plus points. He's dominated that game. It's been the other guys who have struggled, and that's like more the strength of Toronto's team, which is their perimeter defense. Maxey doesn't really play well. Tobias doesn't play well. Thibault's not really a scoring threat. And even in that first matchup with Harden didn't play well. So I think it's going to be Tobias and Harden because what Embiid's going to give you. He's been doing it all year. Somebody else got to step up. Harden got to look like MVP. The beard has to show up, not Tubby Boy that's been out there right now. The beard has to make an appearance for the 76ers. For Toronto Raptors, they just got to keep doing what they've been doing, which is beating teams in ways that we look at and go, how the hell did they win that game? They play a lineup that's weird. They're small, yes, but they have players in Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam that can guard multiple positions. And then Van Fleet is a very good defender. Gary Trent Jr. has come along as a defender. So they make the game ugly. They're kind of like the Miami Heat, but in their own way. They make games very ugly and find out ways to win games. So that's going to be a good series because of that reason. I still think 76ers win it for the sake of Doc. I mean, I need Doc. You got to win this series, big fella. I know everybody's saying that he could be the coach of the Lakers, but I don't want to see him get fired in order to have to be coach. So I don't want him to go out like that. So I want the 76ers to win that series. And then the Raptors just do what y'all do, make entertaining games. I think it goes 6 games. I don't think it's going to be sweet. I think it goes like 6 games, and they make it a competitive, interesting series because that's what the Raptors do. Now, the last game is the Nuggets and the Warriors. With that series, I don't know. I think it's really dependent on the health of Curry. Not to take anything away from the way Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole have been playing of late. They've been on both ends of the court. Klay Thompson is looking like the two-way threat that he once was, and Jordan Poole's offense has been aesthetically consistent with the absence of Curry, and then Draymond is starting to get back to doing what he provides for this team. I'm going with the Warriors to win this series because of the fact that I do not think Jokic is going to dominate Draymond Green. I think he will have he's going to put up his numbers, yes, but Draymond is more than enough capable to make Jokic struggle where they need to get a stop. So, yeah, well, this kind of be like Phoenix. Yeah, you look at their box score and he'll have 25, 10, 10. But then look at the game score and go, well, they lost by 20. So I think it's one of those series where he'll get his numbers, but to ask Will Barton or Aaron Gordon to say, oh, yeah, when you get going, they're just going to throw Klay Thompson and Draymond Green on you, but you'll be fine. You can still get points. That's where I think they're going to struggle. If they get hot and then now Barton is being guarded by Klay Thompson, okay, there goes Barton. If the light-skinned nigga on their team who has name that fast, Aaron Gordon gets going. if Aaron Gordon gets going,
add that to the blooper reel.
Our kids don't repeat that. I forgot his name, but I just said it. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. The dude with the cornrows, Aaron Gordon.
You're good.
Out there, if he's out there hooping, then they're gonna throw Draymond on him, and it's like I don't think that's a great option. So, Joker's gonna have a lot of pressure on him in this series. But I think ultimately the Warriors at full strength are just not going to be. It's going to be too much for Jokic and Nuggets by himself.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Warriors again. They have a better depth. They have better defense. The emergence of Jordan Poole has been, incredible, and the fact that Klay Thompson, it kind of seems like he found his rhythm again. And even at a 75% Curry, that's good enough for the Warriors. So, there shouldn't be any problems with the Warriors now. With in terms of with the Denver, then you have Jokic who can do absolutely everything. You need to find that one person who can step up, and I feel that the only person that I can see that can truly step up and become a problem for the Warriors is probably Bones Highland. And, if he becomes a scoring threat, that could probably be a problem for the Warriors. But, again, no Murray, no Porter is still big. And the team that they have right now is not strong enough to beat the Warriors. The Warriors are almost at full strength, even with Curry, not 100%, and then no Wiseman. But, the chemistry for the Warriors is far more superior than Denver's. And, which is why I'm going, we know that Joker's a problem, but with the Warriors, it's like take your pick. If it's not Curry, it's Poole. If it's not Poole, it's Klay. So it's going to be a fun, matchup to watch. But I got the Warriors winning here.
I got you. What you got?
I agree with everything you guys said. I just feel like even if Curry don't play game one, the Warriors are going to win game one. I think one name that you guys brought up, but you didn't bring up this name, is playoff Klay. I mean, this game 6 Klay, but playoff Klay is still good too, right? And I feel like he been itching. Yeah, regular season, but I still feel like he was like, I just wanted to get right somewhat for the regular season, right? Get through the regular season. He got through the regular season, injury free, right? But this is where he thrives on both ends of the floor. So I feel like this is going to end in 6 probably. And then also with the Warriors, they got different bodies they can throw at the Joker. I mean, mainly probably 90% is going to be Draymond, right? But they got young guys that they could throw over there just to, switch it up. They got Kuminga, they got Looney, they got Moody. So even Toscano Anderson, just to have different people at him, just to, make him think. Make him take an extra second to think, oh, do I want to try to score this? Do I want to try to dish it? But at the end of the day, he's going to get his numbers, and they'll probably still 2. I won't really say 2. They'll probably take 2 because they're not a bad team. I think if you want to compare this series to one of the series in the East, I would say this is probably either similar to the Philly and Toronto one or even the Brooklyn Boston one, because it's like it's really a toss up. Like, yes, the Nuggets are hurt, but they've been killing it all season, and I kind of helped them for this situation because their role players been more than role players this year. Like, they kind of been here and there, star players, starters, whatever you want to call it, the go-to guys. So it's gonna be good, a great series to watch. If I was Kerr and the Warriors staff, I'm not playing Curry first game. I'm waiting. Just this, I mean, like you said, Poole's been killing it. Everybody's been killing it, right? So, and you're playing at home. Then you got game 2, let him play. Game 3, game 4, by game 4, he in rhythm. Then y'all got game 5, game 6, close it out. Boom. We've seen this story before with an injured Curry in the playoffs too, and how he comes back and what they normally do with him. And then by game 5, game 6, he's the Curry we all know, right? And it is just like a sprained foot, which is it's still tricky, but he already has enough support with his special ankle braces that he still wears, and the shoes he wears and all that he'll be okay. So I got the Warriors in 6, and I got them winning with Curry or without Curry tomorrow. Not easily, because every game in the season matchup they played them, it hasn't been easy, but they'll probably pull away fourth quarter because that's who they are. I think the person with the big game is going to be Clay. Like, it's going to be a quarter where he probably goes 5 for 5 from 3, one of those Clay moments, and everybody's going to be going crazy, aka Stephen A. Oh, I told y'all about my Warriors. They on their way to this ship. You know how that goes, but it's going to be fun to watch that series.
2. All right, so we covered today's games and tomorrow's games. All right. Mm-hmm. So, like always, I always say closing thoughts. I figure if you got anything on your mind, you don't have to be basketball related. What y'all got?
I just want this damn game 1 with Brooklyn and Boston to freaking get out the way. I wish it was tomorrow. Like, bro, the build-up has been crazy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, win or lose game, the build-up just been crazy. I just want, like KD said, just throw the ball up and let's jump the ball up and let's get to hooping, because it's like, bro, Monday it was what Bruce Brown said or whatever. My fault. Tuesday it was what Bruce Brown said after the game. Then Wednesday it was us, not really responding to it. Then Thursday it was the whole Ben Simmons thing, right? How he possibly might come. Then a couple hours later, Boston comes out supposedly and says, well, Rob's looking really good. He's doing 2-a-days now. Now he might come back game 6, game 7. And it's just like, it's back and forth, right? Like, forget all that. We know them two is not playing this series. Stop lying. Freaking Ben Simmons needed a shot in his back, and he still ain't do 5-on-5 activity yet. Stop it. Like, at this point, it's just mind games. So I honestly just want that damn series to start so the chit chatting could stop. Besides that, I need the Red Sox to get their crap together. They got cracked on opening day. Like, what the hell? That's my rant for my Friday. I'm done.
Mine is pretty quick too. So as you know, I'm a Knicks and Spurs fan. Unfortunately, the Spurs got eliminated. So I'm on vacation, just like Keem.
Can't
but I got to give credit to the Pelicans, man. Watching that game, they played that game absolutely perfect, from the offensive end to the defensive end, and I think with CJ, with Ingram, with Valanciunas, and then the young guys like we previously mentioned, Alvarado and Herb Jones, especially Herb Jones, because he did it all in that game against the Spurs. I feel like they can be I feel like they're going to beat the Clippers today. And I don't think they're going to beat the Suns, but I feel like it's going to be a fun competitive series.
Absolutely. Gotcha.
I'd rather see that series than the Clippers, to be honest with you.
So Crypto Arena will be closed for basketball this year?
Right.
So I said so that Crypto Arena will be closed for basketball this year? I hate that name. I'm not hating on the bag, but I just don't like Crypto Arena. It doesn't feel right yet. I'm so used to the Staples Center now here in crypto. That's probably why the Lakers was trash this year, because trash ass arena name. No disrespect to crypto.
I mean,
I'm
we
just simply
can keep
saying.
calling it Staples, I guess.
I mean, you call it something. Can we get something better? I just don't like the crypto arena name. It just don't hit right in these streets. I don't really have a closing statement. You know what I mean, I'm just excited for playoff basketball in general. I mean, I know for that standpoint, that's what it is, because I know y'all both went your series. You know, he went with his Celtics series. You went your Spurs is gone. But if I had to say like one thing, because keeping to the trend of the basketball closing thoughts here, is if Pop does decide to hang it up after this season, Pop, you will be missed. That kind of be like another person that we grew up watching, and not watching as a player, but watching as a coach, his legacy and his impact on the game. That is now, retiring, and that would be the last of that Spurs core that is remaining in the NBA. Will now be all retired and doing their due diligence of being Hall of Famers. Congrats to Mono and being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So that's a pretty cool thing. It makes us feel like we're getting old, but that day will come if he decides to retire and hang it up. Pop, you will be missed. I'm curious who would be the replacement was, but
I appreciate that.
Yeah, he would definitely be missed.
I mean, whenever I have something nice to say about your Lakers, I'll let you know too. I don't have anything at the moment right now.
Pop is definitely, if not the greatest, maybe the second greatest to ever do it, right? So it's like it would hurt to see him go, because it's like it's some things you just don't picture happening. Like, MJ fans didn't think he ever retire. I'm sure LeBron fans are gonna be that same way, right? And then when it comes to coaching, you just never thought Pop was gonna stop coaching, right? But the rumors are coming, and it's been past 3 seasons, like dealing with these young guys, which he had injuries, and he also had different vets coming and out. That team too. But it's just like, if there is a time to go, why not now? Like, because it's you have a long way to go before you're back in like the front runner for championship and all that. I mean, you could probably make the playoffs, but
you mentioned like the last 3 years, and you're right. It's been like, usually as a Spurs fan, like I got spoiled, because every year it was like, all right, we're playoff bound, baby, and then until we're not. But I like what the Spurs are doing in terms of rebuilding. They have a lot of young, good players. And to add to that, this upcoming draft, the Spurs have 3 first-round picks. So I don't know if they're shaping up for, if they're actually planning to keep all of those picks, or if they plan on making a huge splash on a trade. But, I mean, I think the future in San Antonio is bright.
Okay.
And then one more thing before we sign off, just to update y'all too. The score is 25-39 Cleveland's way. And we did not talk about this person, but he is a leading scorer, and it's marketing. He's 3 for 4 from the 3-point line, 4 for 6 from the field in 8 minutes. And it's 39. Well, now it's 39-27. Meanwhile, Trae Young,
I mentioned love and not marketing.
0 for 2.
I mentioned him briefly. I just talked about his size. I didn't think he was going to score.
Yeah, they can't
think about that.
The Hawks gave up 36 points in the first quarter. That goes to the defense we're talking about, right?
Terrible.
So
terrible.
Just wanted to give y'all the update. It's basically coming out. It's panning out the way we said it would, right?
Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny. A name nobody mentioned is the freaking leading scorer at the moment.
We've been up and down this year, so I'll put my money.
CBS Sports, if you're listening or watching, we said it here first.
All right. But like always, thanks for watching. Because if you join late, you catch the recorded version of our live podcast on our YouTube channel, Sounds of Hardwood. If you prefer an audio version of our podcast, you can listen to it on Anchor, Spotify, podcast. And like always, we out. So I need Henry here, so I don't have to do this. I'm gonna put that in there, live people. Okay, usually Henry is the person that hits this button. I don't have control